Hey, you guys. It's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? So, today, the topic to discuss is simply Wheel of Karma. And I guess wheel is a fairly honest and accurate representation of the cycles of our lives. And often, what we're like missing in our modern culture is this idea of like ceremony and initiation and ritual and a sacred connection in as far as life cycles go. And we obviously in our like our Western cultures, we don't really address these things. We just sort of like fearfully go through puberty and then hey fifth, and then we have like a sex ed class, for example. So and then we just learn about like how to put a condom on, or like how to um it's very mechanical, like the world we live in, like the world that we're taught about, the 3D mechanical worldview, right? And increasingly, what I'm aware of when living en flow and living from the heart is it's not a linear timeline. It's not just like straightforward in our mental construct. There's wheels, there's karmic cycles, right? And karmic cycles are just a kind of broader perspective of acknowledging energetically that we have ups and downs, that we have hidden invisible aspects of our own beingness that in a lifetime we might choose to endeavor to transform, or to face those fears, or to face those aspects of our own darkness. Hi, Michael. So, um, it's funny how these share topics actually come up. I'm very like I'll flow with them. I don't particularly control them. I don't plan them out necessarily. It just flows when I'm doing my morning routine. And I just was going through my notebook, and it popped out at me, and I don't even know. I think it was a note from one of my past shares around um my past shares, just around maybe some of the moon cycles or something. There it is. Yeah, the new moon live on May 4th, and I talk about the wheel of karma. Hi, John. Good morning. So it's accepting really that we all have it, and that it's not a bad thing. It's not something to fear. It's sort of like the wrath of God, or like judgment of God. Um, Nothing's ever as fear as like the fear. If or nothing's ever as fearful as the fear of fear. So all of these energetic thresholds, i.e., facing conflict in our life, making changes, being who we are, shining our light, stepping into our power, like all of these expressions of embodiment, which is us just embodying more of the truth of who we are en flow and like in resonance with our own karmic wheel. And so it's just par for the course in this life, which again, our system would sort of tell us that our that we're meant to just achieve goals. So i.e., our life is like a line, a timeline, and that on that timeline we're just meant to achieve certain goals, and that's kind of it, right? And then more and more of us, having had some of these spontaneous awakenings, and like um just living from this heart space of love, um, we can acknowledge that there are ups and downs in our energy flow. And the only thing that sort of makes it kind of more troubling is resisting the downturns, like resisting when we feel a bit tired, resisting when we feel a bit sad, resisting when we are where we are. It doesn't even have to be defined. It just, being where we are. Because one thing that's apparent to me in our slightly disconnected, um, you know, upbringing or indoctrination is that people just go round and round in cycle chasing the highs. Even in our spiritual communities, chasing the love and light, or chasing this ideal of what we want to be, what we maybe even project, or maybe on an egoic level, we're attached, like we want to be these right, whatever it might be, these angelic beings, these higher beings, and we have aspects of that probably in our DNA for sure, and yet the humanity of our beingness is the totality of our experience, which means not living in denial of the ups and downs of life cycles, right? Of of the seasons that we have as our life, not just thinking that, once I achieve this state of being, then I'll be done. And I guess I'm must be a theme for me right now because yesterday's talk was about how it never ends. All right, you guys. That's it for me today. I appreciate you guys being here. There's something shifting for me as far as like engaging. Um, I suppose we have a different perspective of karma. Karma to me is just energy. And there's a lot of depth to our beingness, and oftentimes we negate some of that depth. And if we continuously perpetuate negating that depth to our beingness, i.e., our shadow or our darkness, then we manifest creations outside of self that are fearful potentially or worrisome. So that's the energetic karma of our own self denial and our own self betrayal and our own disempowered state. And so we project it outside of self. If we're holding on to stuff, it's gonna come up. If we don't in that present moment, if we can't integrate it and own it, then we perpetuate it outside of the self. We perpetuate it as an entity. Yeah, it has to come up to leave. That's great, Harbinger. Well done. That's great for you when you were in Arcturus. That's great. I Wow, what a powerful gift you have to clear your karma. That's impressive. Interesting perspective. I'm not really in this space of like projecting onto like what other people, like what karmic patterns they have. Um I'm sure it is, Harbinger. Thanks, Fifth. I appreciate you. Um Everything's available to everyone. I I could feel the energies today. Guys, yeah. Thanks, Fifth. I'm not sure why I'm feeling this. There's this weird energy of either like, I don't know, people pleasing maybe, or um yeah, just kind of like attacky energy. Um I this is here's the thing. You feel resistance. That's your resistance, you know? Um I guess it's just being present with what is, and maybe I'm, you know, um I don't know. Uh it's I don't like, again, here's that polarity of you can leave if you desire that. If that's your if you want to, I'm not here to uh force anyone to be here or to not be here. There again, I'm not sure if I'm for us past few. Yeah, like this is tricky navigation, you guys, and like there again, I have my own, like, life stuff that I'm dealing with, and I'm not exactly sure, like, again, I guess there's those layers of expectation that we're supposed to feel into, and I guess also sometimes straight up, you guys, like, I feel intuitively like I should go unlisted because I'm not particularly in this, like, open, loving space of just having engagement necessarily. So there's a lot of sleepy feels, eh? The yellow vests jumped on me. What? Do you have the yellow vests in America right now? Thanks, guys. Yeah, this is the thing is, like, I'm just, like, this random person in her bedroom. I'm like, I guess I'm just aware of being showing up and having energies, and then I'm like, I'm just being me. I'm just being where I'm at. Like, I guess I've offended somebody, but I'm like, again, you're online unless you're booking sessions with somebody, you can't expect to, like, have sessions with somebody, like, and I can't necessarily deal with others people, other how other people are feeling from here unless people are being honest, but a lot of people are just, I think, I don't know, it's just the energies of, like, the sort of vampiric energies are strong right now, I feel. And I'm dealing with the situation there again, like, "Hi, can I have compassion for myself, please?" Like, I'm dealing with a situation in my life, and it's not easy, and, when you try to take ownership for people's and or ownership for manifesting something that's potentially fucking scary and potentially something you've never dealt with, and, like, and then people can just be like, "Why do you" I don't know. I get tired of people parading around pretending like you're people's savior, and that only do you know why? Because I've been there, like, thinking that you have to parade around with your big fat fucking ego, like you can save the world and you can, and then the reason I'm saying it like this is, like, I know this, I've been there. I've been that arrogant know-it-all. I've been that fucking twat who thinks that it's up to them, to save the world, and I'm just like, I can't, and none of us can in that way. In as far as, like, pretending that we're the savior of all, I guess. The in a sense, the only real savior is the energy of love, like, the energy of love from within us. Sorry, guys, I'm suddenly feeling really effing negative, and I didn't necessarily feel this way right when I started. Oh, Rochelle. Yeah, that's the thing, John. It's like we're all responsible for ourselves. I as you do sometimes, which it isn't necessarily healthy or anything, but, um, like, doing some little scouting on the old Facebook or whatever, and seeing posts and, like, people that I don't know, people that might have used me at certain times, or people who might have told me I was useless or not valuable in the work that I do, and then, like, seeing stuff and posts and stuff that, like, reminds me of stuff that I was trying to kind of explain to them about life, and yeah, just I think the point is, like, people have to just be able to feel themselves and feel pain and not fucking perpetually feel like you have to heal. You have to, like, and I'm like, why are we trying to run away from being human? From being, like, as in, here's like the biggest disservice is that so I'm not sunshine or I have emotion and there's something wrong with me. That's like the typical fucking paradigm. We're just fucking running away from our darkness. Just run away. Like somebody just leave chat because I'm not giving you what you want, And like that's fine. I don't engage. Like this is the thing. I don't engage with much information out there consciously. I sleep, I go for walks, I talk to friends, I engage with humans when I'm outside of this YouTube environment. I, you know, for some time have been doing this Instagram promoting my work, and the weirdest thing about my online presence is like the more consistent I am and the more that I show up, it seems like the more not like no engagement or very little, and I'm just a bit like what the fuck is going on, and just remaining positive. Healing is not about fixing anything, right? And yet everyone goes around like that they've got the next best thing and that they've got the tricks and they have the tools to heal everybody, and I'm just like, the thing is, like, in my awareness of you are the healer. You are the healed state inside of you. Your authenticity. Oh wait. Yeah, yeah. I was just about to say that. Gracious love, we're very in tune. Your authenticity is your healed beingness. Every single moment you are the infinite, and every single moment you are the projected self. I think sometimes we might as beings get a little bit too up in our heads about all of these cool things that sound cool, like in our heads, but like actually practically applying them can often be just a lot of fucking bullshit. I don't know. Sorry guys, I don't know. I'm not like actually sorry, but I am sorry because I feel kind of like sorrowful. I feel kind of like ugh. I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of like a weird energy, right? John. um yeah. Yeah, frustrating. Frustrating in as far as like sharing from your heart and putting messages out that you feel are valuable to people, could really help people, and then just being fucked about basically and not really knowing like as in like I don't know, the courses and all of like how to create a successful YouTube channel, and I see people like doing work, just the content is a different theme and they're like numbers skyrocket, and I've been making YouTube content since 2012, and now for the last like 2 years sharing pretty much every single day. And if it weren't for like Aluna and you guys who have like shared the message, it just some days just feel like it's really tough to keep going, that's all. And some days it feels just like, what's the point? Because um, mm, I know. Like I'm aware on a like a deeper level that the numbers don't matter and da 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 da. But like I'm just also like an honest, normal ego human who like, yeah, wants to do better for people and feels a little bit like I failed for people if they unfollow. I get private emails sometimes from people telling me why they unfollowed. And I usually do what I can in that moment to apologize, or I'll take down a video, or, like I'm not here to offend people and make people feel bad, but I am here to acknowledge the work that I do inside myself. I own all of my emotions. I feel very deeply. I cry a lot. And I really don't come on to these live shares to, like, be told how I can heal or, like, that I need to be released from whatever, and I'm just like, "Fuck all of you." Because I actually in my empathic intuition, sometimes I feel like people are actually coming from ego, and I don't fucking need it. Like, I don't and the majority of women would be really damn tired of getting told what to do at this stage in the game. I've been doing what I was told for too damn long, and, like, I'm hurt by it, and I'm increasingly fucking just be nice, and, like, I'm increasingly, like, destroyed by the world in my heart, and I'm just like, "Fuck, I don't owe people anything." And I'm tired of being fucking nice to people that are creeping me out or expecting stuff or pretending to be nice to me, but really it's all a fucking pretense to get something from me, to get my time, to get me to look at this, to get me to do this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, as women, I think it's super like important to just really stay in our sovereignty and stay in our center. I feel like there's a lot of like arrogance and that's probably why I feel kind of shitty, right? Is like just I'm perpetually owning my shit and perpetually looking at my own arrogance, and then it continues to kind of peel back these veils that are really insidious programming in our beingness that it's still coming out basically. It's still all coming up. Rashad, it's not you. And like that's like another weird thing of like I guess it's tricky because like I'm just sharing and then it goes away and like sometimes I share stuff and this is what I'm traversing you guys like privately is just like I guess like you could say stalker energy and like traversing like how much do you share and engage and like um and like when I'm sharing stuff I'm not actually usually sharing anything about a specific person but what's weirding me out a little is like or not weirding me out but like how what I'm facing is just like um I guess sharing stuff just in my world and like but then getting feedback from individuals that they think that I'm talking about them but I've never met them and I've never engaged with them you know and so I'm like I but they for some reason think that all my videos are about them and I in my mind and heart like I'm so far away from that kind of psychological profile that I don't really understand you know and sometimes the energies around you around certain subjects can start to trigger some deeper stuff about like being a light and shining your light and being someone who really really loves people but who's been abused a lot and then how do you be nice with or how do you just be kind without inviting danger you could say you know um so thanks John. Yeah. What was that fifth? I feel you. But it's like there's this whole world of people, you want to see this, or maybe there's not. Exactly. I don't know. Exactly. I feel like that. Um, especially like in a day like today where I'm just feeling a bit like, oh, we'll just laugh. Like, what's the point of anything? Well, Daniel, I feel like it's something that it's something about me understanding humanity, but I obviously, like, in my light and love bubble, I really wanna I do see the divine in people, and I feel the divine in people, but, like, once you in your beingness and in your consciousness look into the depths of some of the shadow of this world politic, and kind of acknowledge in your heart the depth of the darkness, it means that a lot of, like, human ugh, see, I can feel it. It's like it is sickness. Like, there is a large, large portion of the mass that's, like, sick, like, deeply sick. And here's about, again, not just denying, wrapping ourselves around the spiritual language and denying, like, we're still in it. We're still collectively healing. Um, and again, the depth of what we're healing is beyond the veil. So it's not obvious in any way. And, women being able to speak their voices and be heard, and women reclaiming their bodies is really, really important for all of humanity. For all of humanity to be free, women have to know and own themselves, you know? Not to be frightened of their bodies, not to be in denial of their pain, you know? Oh, hi, gracious love. Hey, gracious love. Yeah, I'm just there is like a that kind of energy that I clearly have drawn it into for me to work with and or learn about, for me to learn more, and also to know about boundaries. And I don't talk a lot about boundary, but I'm learning about it, but I'm learning about it from within my own self and my own intuitive feeling. And I'm realizing that a boundary really isn't like a thing outside of us. It's just inside. It's a knowingness, and it's being one with the intuition, because the intuition can sense stuff. It's like it's almost like, as well, like, if people have too much ego, they just won't stick around. Because if there was any kind of people pleasing stuff, once they realize that I'm not here to please them, they just fuck off. Like, I'm here for my expression of my truth and my and this is a business for me. It's not just a part-time job. It's not just like it's my business. All to Love is my business. I've made this whole spiritual awakening ascension journey, which I didn't even have the language for it at the time. I made it my business because there was nothing else for me. Your arrogance is tempered. I don't know. I never want to make people feel bad, but I'm aware of the fact that I've lived my whole life overcompensating for the fact that just my essence made people feel bad about themselves. And then I felt bad most of my life. And as an adult, I've just started working it out, and I'm here to share the tale. It's not about running away from the stuff that we feel. It's not about living in denial. It's not about going around fixing everybody. It's just literally about being who you are in every given moment and giving yourself permission to show up as that person. It's only a mechanistic worldviews that would think that they should show up on this channel and I shall be joyful and happy for them every single day, and I shall be ever so kind and listen to every single thing that they have to say and honor it and live in love and light bubble. And I'm like, that's not my bubble anymore, guys. It used to be, but I gotta say, when I was in the love and light bubble, I wasn't as happy as I am now. How peculiar. I'm happy. Just because I'm crying doesn't mean I'm a sad person. I'm just feeling stuff right now. And I have a very detached perspective around my mind and around my feelings. I just watch who she is, you know? For sure, gracious love. Like I from my journeying, like this emotional stuff is getting easier, but it's not gone. And I just don't know if it's ever going to be gone. And I'm like, why do we have to make it go away? Why is it that we're all wrong for feeling stuff and that we've tried to make it all go away? And there's such pain in the world and people just want to brush it under the rug and I'm like it's not going to work, you know? We have to start facing this. We have to start feeling and healing and step away from our enslavement patterns, you know? And by all means, if you meet somebody who claims to be able to heal every karma cycle or is perfect in their beingness, then by all means, go to them. Let yourself be healed by them, you know? Yeah, it would be super dull, wouldn't it? And like straight up, I it's like I mentioned this in one of the other shares, right? But like for the last maybe like 3, 4 days, I've been pretty steady. I've been pretty like, yeah, hey, hey, life is great. I'm doing life. And then I wasn't expecting this, but I of course I blew my nose live. Although there have been other ones where I've tried to be more polite and be like, but totally fifth. That was pretty much my journey. I went from the love light bubble to learning about satanic ritual abuse in the underbelly of our fucking mainstream culture, and I'm just like, and then the pedophile rings in our ruling priesthoods. So there's some sickness and some darkness that for those of us who have the courage and the strength, we have to face it. And I there again, I'm like, it's so easy to just, well, that's not me. I'm not doing that. And I'm like, well, yeah, but our humanity is. So as a whole, we can um just accept that there's some crazy dark shit and that and that it's totally 100% okay to feel all the stuff that you feel. Oh, hi Patricia. How are you? Yeah. Well, we can blind the love and light is ultimately just a polarity of division. I had some of my most like insidious, weird abuse patterns in the love and light bubbles. And I still do it. I just like, thanks guys. I still do it. I still catch myself. I'm still catching myself acting out in these people pleasing patterns, but that's looping back into this weird stalker energy is this is another huge lesson for me around like just kindness around kindness and people pleasing. People pleasing is this weird, like, like literally every single person that comes around you, you feel like responsible for their joy and happiness. And if you do something that might offend them or might make them feel like literally that's the kind of weird like heat of the empath is that most of us are almost always overcompensating for people, trying extra hard, and that is not healthy. And it's not. eh, Yeah, it's the demiurge. It's the archon grid. Duality is an archon grid construct. Which means that any like up is there's a down. So anything in the illusory world that we perceive as like, la, there's an underbelly to that. There's a fucking dark side of the moon. There's a shadow aspect to all of it, including our own self. It's the denial of our darkness that perpetuates the darkness outside of self. We have to be able to integrate in our own consciousness the darkness that we perceive, i.e., the fear that we perceive, running away from it and pretending that we have nothing or that we can live in our comfortable little lives and pretend that there isn't any pain or darkness, and then demonizing people who feel pain or feel anger. And let's be honest, any of us that feel anger, it's because there's pain. Like anger is literally just a cover up for deep, deep, deep pain. And sometimes I'm just so fucking acutely aware of the amount of pain, anxiety, depression, and shit that people carry. And they go, and we're all supposed to just go, yeah, I'm so tired of it, and I'm so tired of being dumped on when I'm in a mood like this. That's ultimately, like, what perpetuated this mood as well, was, I don't know, one of you guys talking about how I'm being resistant or, like, egotistical, and I'm just like, "Ugh, go back to your own channel. Share your own shit, because I'm not here to be your love and light bubble. I'm not here just to be a pretty, like, whatever. I'm a human being with a full spectrum of emotions on her own journey, living her life, and this is my business. So, pardon me, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And if you don't like it, then just leave. But I'm and also making a statement about it. Somebody going, "Well, I'll be leaving. I'll just leave then." Yeah, fine. Jesus, like, why don't you make a big deal? It's like dealing with this awakening in as far as women literally breaking down, and then this interesting dynamic of men being asked to step up and support and help out and wanting like a round of applause for it, like, oh, you did the dishes once, good for you. Oh, you, and I'm like, this is what's a challenge for a lot of us as women, is that that's the burden we've been carrying for however long, and we can't compare. Men and women shouldn't be here comparing one another's wounds and dick measuring their wounds with one another. You know, we, if anything, just need to hold space for one another and accept that as men and women and as unique individuals, we all have our own unique wounds. We all have our own unique things to traverse and to get through, and they're not all the same. And there isn't going to be just one pill and one magic healing cure for everybody. And I don't expect the world to feel my depths, but I'm also not here to please it, to please an enslavement world where people are disconnected from their heart and blind, essentially, to the truth of their beingness. That's not the world that I'm here to please. And yet it did a pretty good job of enslaving and programming my mind to do that. And now as I consciously outwork those enslavement patterns, I'm uncomfortable some days. Sit and cry some days, and you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Oh, I should be working. Should I? Why? What should any of us be doing? You know, i.e., we should get the 9 to 5, or we should be working in an enslavement system just so we can keep buying more shit that's going to end up destroying the ecosystem. You know, there's a huge disparity in the world economy and in the way that we're operating on this planet. And until we wake up, fucking see it and make changes, all we do is perpetuate the problem. And breaking free and claiming to have the knowing of all knowings is not useful to people, especially if you're privileged. Sorry, I speak for myself. I'm annoying my own self straight up. Oh, hi guys. Hey, little blue popper just came up and it's like, hey, $2, $2 dollar dollar dollar. Aw, look at that's just how human I am, you guys. My $2 donation has really perked me up. Oh my god, 5th. Like, I res so hardcore with that. Nothing fucking matters. Anyway, it's the never ending story. We just finally got our life back. Like, that's all. That's all. Like, this whole effing game has just been about me going, "It's mine." Like, heal my body, take my body back. This is mine. This is mine. That's mine, that connection. And that what I perceive is mine and I choose it and I'll just continue to choose it and shine it and show it and share it for you guys. That's all this is about. I'm not in competition. I don't want to steal or rape or make you feel bad, but also I'm somebody who's like, deal with your feelings. Deal with your feelings. That's my practice. That's why when I start to get in loops with people, I step away because it's a sign that I'm in a codependency and or they're manipulating me. That's my awareness. Because I own my shit. If I'm going around in a loop and getting dumped on, usually it's because somebody's lying to me. And I'll just gently walk away. I don't need to change or shine. And I don't even need to call people out anymore. Let's be honest, because the truth is everybody knows. The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. And oh my god, what a pleasure it is in this here now moment to be like, I don't even give a shit. Like if people don't like me, great, good. Go love yourself. Go find that love in your heart because I'm just managing to do it for me, and that's enough. More than enough. Is an inept concept and I told them to deal with it. Pretty much. Righteous anger is an inept concept. Ugh, God, people are so fearful and in denial of anger. My whole perception of anger is like, sorry guys, as long as we're dropping bombs on one another, we have anger issues, all of us, every single one. Most people are just actually in hardcore denial of their anger and they're masking it with people pleasing and fucking love and light distractions. And then as soon as there's a bit of aggression around them, they're like, "Whoa, deal with your anger." I'm like, "Oh, you've got anger issues." I I've been coaching and working with people for a long time. People spew venom. I work with people and have been on this path for a long time. Like you work with people and there's going to be different points oftentimes around deeper sexual awakenings where you're going to get some there's going to be some popping lids off because of the depth of the enslavement entanglements that we're in. Sometimes you need to just effing feel what you feel and rage and not feel bad and not try to hurry it up, like clear it out. There's nothing fucking wrong, right? It's just that if you have anger, you have to feel the anger. And then as you traverse the anger energy, usually in my personal, like literally 100% of the time, if I'm having an anger explosion and I let it run its course and I fucking feel it, all of it, then eventually there's going to be like a, and then there's this pain and then there's this like compassion usually. So there's always like a woundedness underneath anger. And I'm aware of that. But I'm in my process. So I'm sharing vulnerably my process with humanity. It's not that I'm here looking for people to heal me or looking for me to be like something for them. Like just, oh, you're being egotistical. Fuck you. You don't like just I swear to God, we've up leveled beyond, and like there's a whole bunch of energy that you just can't even get unless you get it. And like I just feel that. I feel that every emotional storm I traverse, I'm sort of bridging further and further away from these people pleasing patterns. And yet, and yeah, anyway, you guys, like here's the thing as well. Like the reason I can't do the people pleasing is that I don't care what people think of me anymore. And also when it comes to the movement, I have to be as real as possible. And, like, I know on a natural level, I don't care about the subs and blah, 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 but I do have intention to continue to pioneer the movement and a movement, and you guys know perfectly well, as living a life on this planet, we need resources. And I want, like, legit people that are here in, like, love, not in service to their own ego. And sometimes I sense that people are actually here for their own ego and their own self-aggrandizement, not for love. And, like, I just feel in the resonance, and I'm so duper duper intuitive, that there's sometimes a lot of ego and people that, and the worst egos are the people who think they don't have a fucking ego, or that think that they're so effing spiritual, and I'm just like, what are you hiding? What shame are you hiding? Why are you overcompensating? Why do you need to parade your spirituality all over people pretending like you're high and mighty? Because it's an egoic superiority tactic to power over people. Hey, cat. Sweet. I feel that. People pleasing cause deep pain for me. Yeah, it does, because it's a denial of the true power that we are. And most of us end up people pleasing because, ugh, I don't know, because I love my ego. It's pretty lame. I love that. I love it too. I love your ego as well, John. Straight up, my friend. Like, the majority of the people, like, we don't, I'm not really even talking about it. You guys are fucking solid. Like, we're good. I need to go back to Andrea's comment because I could just see fifth world. Ah, totally agree, Andrea. I'm like, what did Andrea say? Being able to handle my anger and want me to feel like I have anger issues, right? Yuck, no, I just don't tolerate lies and deceit, right? And this is where the empaths can understand where we're coming from. What I'm noodling now with is where's the anger come from? So for the empath, eventually, especially when we're working with because we're expecting them to kind of like be in integrity, right? But people aren't in their integrity for one. So that's usually the legit truth. And people are not in their integrity, not out of their own shittiness, but they're not in their integrity because they were programmed out of it. They were literally at a very young and vulnerable age programmed to disconnect from their fucking heart and soul and to be a fucking machine for a system of control and domination. That's fine. Okay. So there. And those of us waking up to this systematic control and domination going, yeah, this is fucked up. I can't be a human, that we're going back to nature. We're going back to our heart. We're going back into the season. We're going back into the regenesis process. Right. And in the first instance, when we're just navigating, that is exactly where me up leveling and uprooting these abusive patterns was that I was the angry one, so it was my issue and it was always my problem, and I kept having to go away and and work it out. Then I started to realize why was I getting angry? Where was this anger coming from? And I'm like, oh, that's because the person I'm trying to be so kind to and be so nice to and offer so much of my fucking vital energy to was in complete denial of their own shame, of their own guilt, of their own terrifying fear and perversion. So every time I would get upset because of all of that denial, being a sensitive empath, but someone saying stuff to me buying into the word rather than the feeling, and then eventually it all comes out, the perversion, the underlying shame and the underlying guilt and the underlying denial. And instead of fucking facing it head on, I become the bad guy. I'm out of control. I'm hysterical. I've just turned into this big, bad, ugly villain, which I did because I got into that situation out of need. So I was people pleasing my way to survive. I'm just being fucking legit. I had no money. My mother had been deported, so my mother was taken away from me. And some people that I thought were supports were not. So just like that, as has happened so often in my life, I am fleeing persecution and or ridicule and or lies and deceit, fleeing for my own survival and people disown me in that moment, and, like, when you live through something like that, it's kinda hard to fucking relate unless you've been through something like that, and unless you're doing this primarily on your own. And so this is where I'm somebody who can fully share with you guys, and I can feel your resonance. I can feel that you feel me and that you've been through things that are kind of similar depths. And this is coming from love. This, what I share with you guys, is coming from a place of love, compassion, and forgiveness. I'm not here pointing fingers at my own persecutors. I'm not here pointing fingers at the people who gossiped about me. I'm not here pointing fingers on the people who perved and stalked and did things. I'm here just sharing my experience. It's a choice in my own heart to love even these rather hideous aspects. Yeah, most hideous aspects of our humanity. And that's what I'm here to face and transform, and have been for most of my life. I'm not interested in military bases and propaganda that perpetuates fear and division and judgment. I just want to get back to the earth. Before I go, guys, I just want to share with you just like the vision. This so, like, all it is just the bare feet on the ground. Us, all it is us as a humanity coming back to our hearts and remembering who we are and remembering how to live in harmony on this planet. Like, that's all. I don't care about recognition. I don't want any, ultimately anything. Most of you guys will get that. Like, obviously I deserve, like, all humans to live comfortably here, but like I don't want to prove anything. I just think that all humans deserve clean water, free energy, education, shelter. And, like, really, this is the channel. This is what it's about. It's what it's always been about. In my early awakenings was that I just don't want to be here if that's all there is. If we're as conscious, fucking alive and intelligent human beings, if adults and leaders are telling me that's just the way it is, this world is just gonna have to fucking suffer whilst just a very, very few humans steal from everybody and then get to control it. I'm just like, that's not fucking cool at all. And I don't want to stand for that world. And, like, I'm not ashamed of feeling stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with having compassion and feeling really deeply. I don't expect other people to feel really deeply, but I'm also aware that humanity is healing, and that because we've been disconnected for so long, we're pretty sick. And the weirdest thing about all this healing stuff is that in my personal life experience, my direct life experience, I only really started to feel healed and truly empowered when I let myself feel deep. Waves and waves of storms penetrating this depth of a void that I would just go as far as I could into that void until I couldn't go anymore. And so often in emotional storms, it just gets to this point of enough. That's all I can take today. But on the other side of these storms, there's always clarity. you know? There's always, like, peace and a new perspective, because every time I storm like this, I break down walls around my heart. Every time I storm like this, I break down illusions of control and domination that don't serve me or anybody else. I think, like, because there's so much deep shame and denial, and there's a lot of shame around, like, our worthiness and our, like, and so traversing this stuff in an economy is also really kind of scary and fucked up for people, because, like, if you take leaps in business and then can't afford things, that can be really fucking, yeah, vulnerable for people. Not having money, bottoming out, like, there's really intense energies over there in America, and they are here as well, but I feel like the beast is really, like, spitting out now, like, the beast, like, the core wound of the system of enslavement is now like, and so everybody over these coming months is seeing disclosure, everybody's waking up to the lie, everybody's remembering stuff, and I just, like, I don't know. I'm just so aware of not feeding any more illusions to people and just being myself, and how distorted it is that we expect so much from one another, you know? And I share this so transparently because I do it too. I'm not trying to be hard on you. This is somebody who's just been really hard on herself most of her life, who's trying to just be like, "Okay, is anyone else just fucking confused?" Or does anyone else ever feel really lost? Does anyone else ever feel like they don't wanna be here? Does anyone else resonate with this feeling, like, I just feel so deeply and just wish, like, that one day will make a difference, you know? That one day just, like, owning all this pain is actually gonna make a difference to people. And, like, it's weird to me because, like, we're in this moment, I'm like, and yet I know in truth that we're telling a story of something so beautiful, like heaven on earth. But I reckon, like, even in heaven, like in Avatar, like, we're still gonna feel. That's part of our sentience, and we should feel. That's part of our power. Being blocked or being in denial, or I don't know, projecting onto other people that they need to change, like projecting on, like, you're this, you're that, you're whatever, and I'm like, okay. Again, for someone like me, that's my historical pattern, is to just take on people's projections of me, but here I am in my little YouTube channel going, if your projections feel off to me, I don't want it. And then there again, and I don't need to feel bad about it. Like, here I am, this whole share is me processing, feeling kind of bad and twisted about potentially making someone feel bad, and then I'm like, "Oh, that's what I teach." If I'm doing something that makes you feel bad, you deal with it. I deal enough with my own stuff. I deal enough with my own life over here. And what's apparent to me is that, just like people can watch TV shows and think that they know the characters on the TV, similarly, like, and there's a resonance, definitely, and there's a connection, definitely. But as far as, like, even knowing much more about my life than what I'm putting out here, that's not the case. And I'm weirdly, although this, I think people perceive this, sometimes I share stuff just because it's in my awareness. It's not necessarily direct experience. It's just abstract thought that I'm thinking about. But I think sometimes people interpret my shares as like talking about them. But these are people I don't know, which is weird as well. Anyway, part of me at some point feels like I might want to reach out to maybe just one or two of you around oh, thanks guys. You're all like being really nice. Thank you guys so much. Lynn, I like that. They do need so much prayer. I'm like, this is the stuff of I'm not unique as well. I just think this is like I think a lot of people do this just alone. This is the thing as well. Look at the contrast. We live in a world that propagates violence and kind of like pornography and materiality and consumerism. And we shame this, we shame feeling and we shame shining and expressing and anything outside of that fucking box. And I think this is what we're healing. And the reason I kind of cried again was that you made another donation. I'm so thankful to you guys. Generational fuck ups. I'm seeing this. We are here to clear that shit. Yeah, for sure, right? Thank you, Kat. Mega appreciation across the nation. Aw, I'm so thankful for you guys. Mm. And I guess that's what I was saying was I like so the mainstream media and like a lot of our trigger happy YouTube channels and Instagram popularity, influence and whatnot, it's like that's what gets all the billions and millions of stuff is all this like drama fueled reptilian fucking sex under the shadows shit and like love and grace, thank you so much. So we propagate that. We propagate fear, separation, lack, objectified sexuality, like distorted sexuality. That's what's pumped out into the masses, into the consciousness field of our humanity. And yet, when we endeavor to genuinely, in earnest, talk about like love and rising ourselves up, it's just like a minefield. I swear, because there's so many layers to that enslavement patterning in our human consciousness and even though it's still relentless, I gotta say, like, I do know in truth that we're getting somewhere. I do know in truth that the stronghold of those controller energies have left, although it mightn't look like it because everything is still spinning out. But we are stepping into the new. Like, I do know that. I just like also I'm aware of like so even with friends or like people that I work with, I'm like it is just relentless. This is the new way of being. But so was being a slave. So was working like a slave. That was relentless too. And that was really killing us. At least in this new way of being, we're much more in our like infinity self. We're much more in our eternal self. And so we can have much more, instead of giving our control to the external, we can have dominion over the self. That means I get to choose how I want to be in my body. I get to choose how I want it to feel. I get to choose how this beautiful world looks. And let's be honest, this world looks beautiful. This world is a paradise. That's the world that I live in. Andrea, feel it all. We're all clearing, right? Noodling. Ah, yes, clear vibrations. Yes. And this is something where I'm like, that will continue. The more we clear, the more we clear, the density, once we start hitting up into some of the deepest depths that we thought were not even there, and then they come up in either heartbreak or like severe intensity, we are going through much and we're not alone. That's right. And like, I don't want to say to people that it ends and that one day you get to this point where you never feel again. I just feel like we get better practiced at being the regenesis. We get better practiced at being the truth of our being rather than like, well, the other, which is layering and layering and layering and layering in denial of our disconnection, right? Layer upon layer of believing, pardon me, guys. Oh, by the way, like I'm a burper and a farter. Like I'm crying, laughing, burping. I haven't actually had a fart, but like I'm actually embarrassed as well, like guys. Um John, yeah, feelings create reality. So healing our pain heals our world. Oh my god, good reminder, really simple. And then more and more of us, as we face our healed world, we continue to heal. And like what I realize is like, it's not like I ever don't feel. I'm feeling more in the present. So I don't have these intense storms in the same way because I've shifted the backlog. So I talk about it in the Fearless Life Guide. When we shift our karmic backlog, i.e., ancestral, past life, da 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 da, which again is all coming through our reality via the subconscious. So everything we perceive is our healer, essentially, and that anything that triggers us has an opportunity for deeper healing, i.e., any trigger essentially can be traced to a core wound, usually abandonment, fear, shame, guilt, separation, betrayal, deception, really like that. That's like the darkest stuff. And then once we start being able to penetrate and hold space for healing those deepest, darkest wounds, that's when what I'm experiencing now is there's just a little bit more like superfluousness, if that makes sense. It's like I can always come back to my center a lot more easily and I'm not getting triggered and it doesn't feel like there's as much like shadow coming out in front of me. Like I don't feel like I'm facing my past anymore. I feel like I'm stepping into my future because I'm so much more in the present, basically. Basically. Though I can say that now and the next moment I'll be like, what is life? I have no idea. Yeah, so don't take my word for it, guys. Just keep living and see what happens. That makes sense. Sweet. Yes. Peace and grace. Now we know what peace and grace is. Yeah, I never knew that before. Now it's more of a normal feeling. It's so true, right? Like garbage after getting through it, and now I'm looking at it wanting to know what to do now. So lost and unknown ground. And that's okay. But just be bold and fearless and like start kicking that garbage around or something, or start playing with it, or um be like, wow. It's like a lot of my pain, or a lot of like times where I was in the deep shits, and circumstantially as well, like potentially in abuse patterns or like super poor, i.e., poverty, like not just being like, what the fuck, and like being in these different situations where it's literally in the creative capacity of the mind. That's part of why I essentially teach what I teach and why the courses are what they are, because unplugging from mainstream is a huge benefit to somebody who's endeavoring their freedom. Because in order to really truly like get into your creative elixir point, i.e., the divine connection that is you, yes, you guys are so nice. That elixir creativity is your purpose. That's your mission. Except when we're still being being bombarded and investing in propaganda, sorry, and it's getting kind of radical, but I'm like literally all of it. So even when we watch movies, even when we watch the Netflix, just be discerning with how you're feeling and interpreting it, right? Because most of it is fearful propaganda that is actually purposefully designed to control you and keep you locked into fearful patterns, make you too afraid to make changes, and then also cut you off from your creativity, right? So just trust God's plan. There it is. That's basically the default now. Just fall back way into the divine. It's the all. It does got this. Like if any of us have the juice of life in moments to say you got this or I've got this. It's like, yeah, because the divine totally got this. Like that's where we rest. That's where we can vibrate. Um and and yeah, more power to the people who understand what I'm talking about. And prayers and infinite loving compassion for the people who don't. There's just such compassion. There's just such compassion for this humanity. And but I know we have to continue to be who we are. We have to continue to speak and to share because it's really all for love. It's really all for everybody. Eh, It's for the earthlings. It's for the innocent and divine humans who deserve to just live in peace and live simply. Like, my God, it's not that hard. So, yeah, that energy is bosh. You guys are coming in loads. I'm getting emails here and messages, and so clearly that's really nice, you guys. I appreciate it. If you go back to the comments, I like offended somebody. Anyway. Anywho, you guys, I love you loads. I These live shares keep me going. Honestly, they keep me going, but I gotta say it's sometimes a little bit like my there's a part of my beingness that is sometimes watching this going, "Foo." Like deepest pain to stop the pattern, yeah. And that for me, Kat, that's pretty much like the cycle I continuously go through is that I've peeled there's even again, like within a week, I saw a control pattern around like love and romance, but also survival. And then like I looked and then went over it and like I saw it. And then the weird double edge about owning our patterns is that they in our own self they're insidious. So I can go around and talking about, oh, I blah blah blah, poor woe is me, but like I can also, when patterns come up for me, see that I'm still outworking those same kind of control patterns, and by being as honest as I can about them, and like being like, wow, I was just a manipulative and or people pleasing da 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 to try to get this or to get that, and then again it leads back to me not owning my truth, not being fully powerful, but I can't see it unless I traverse it, unless I act it out, and then unless I own it, unless I fucking shine light on my own manipulation. And that's the only reason I can keep showing up, is that I'm brutally honest with myself. And I don't have there's no like this whole fearful propaganda around privacy. That's why it doesn't freak me out, because I'm like, there's nothing to hide. Go read through all my emails, go tap into my bank accounts. There's nothing there for you. you know, because I'm already transforming it, right? So yeah, boom. um you inspire me to share more. Yes, you inspire me to share more for sure, and make me peel other layers and show me how far we have come. Yeah, right, because we have clear vibrations. I love it. Car. Ooh, cat. I know. Mega love for cat. Dang, got booted. What do you mean you got booted, Rochelle? What does that mean? Did you get booted from here, you mean? Oh, you guys, and yeah, weird. Check your subscription or whatever, because I've noticed this. There's some weird stuff going on, I think, with like, I don't know. I need to catch up on some fifth videos to try to attune to the energies sometimes of what's going on. Oh, awesome. Look, I have a message. I'm actually not gonna show it, but I have a message from someone named Catterday Morning saying, "You look like a tranny. You packing, bro?" I'm like, "Oh, how wonderful." I'm sorry. Do you know what feels actually empowered for me is, like, I can do that, where that would have troubled me before, and now I can just see someone basically harassing me and calling me names and being mean, and I can report them, and I can say, "No, that's not nice." How beautiful, right? Hey, fuck off, troll. Hi, Roots. How are you? Yeah, he's away now. But don't worry, I'll get to look at that in the review section. Hey, Michael, you're allowed to believe whatever you want, my friend. I know, I know. You look like a trainee. That's really nice. Thanks, guys. Or just as many. Right there, Lynn. That's why outworking this shit is quite deep, right? Is that when you're the people pleaser in your mind, you're like the nice one. You're so lively and kind, but actually, there's some ugly, ugly energetic entanglement going on. Because if we're attracting perversion, people using us, da da da, da, it's because we're also entangling ourselves in codependency, which is manipulation, usually out of need. And again, we can all let ourselves off the hook when we start to see that insidious behavior because of the overarching controlling agenda. But of course, that's where we're shining the light and sharing this stuff and going, is anyone else finding this to be deeper than what we were kind of programmed to think? And also kind of difficult and confusing or something, I don't know. So yeah, reading a book, The Great Plan with the Karma Wheel of Life. Oh wow, cool, interesting. Yeah, and I'm getting that star seed. I've been receiving a little bit more around cycles and how when we break free from like low level systematic enslavement patterns, we do up level and there's like a traversing bridge period where it feels all like, "Wah," like free falling and that there's no patterns and everything feels all out of control. But then what happens is that like the new patterns anchor and the way I feel into the pattern is that it's just not as rigid and limited. The patterns are still there, but they're more expanded, i.e., we look at them in cycles. So we might have like yearly cycles, monthly cycles, i.e., patterns of behavioral outworkings, which are getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the entire collective evolves and awakens and rises up, right? Lynn, I know it's because there's some Ixvels. It's not always, and that's why I don't go around looking for clients or business in that regard. You just emit a message and trust that, emit a frequency and trust that the people that are seeking in earnest, you could say, that they are the ones that gravitate, and that I, as whatever the visionary, I can discern the energies that are in alignment with where we want to go versus not. I can just press hide or press report to the energies that I feel are incredibly destructive. If people don't want to come in peace and open their heart to feel and sense what we're here to share and talk about because it is profound, then we need to just energetically, that's the boundary piece I go back to. That's the boundary piece. But most of us here pray for one another every day. And this is again something this is the invisible work that people don't see. Like a lot of us who resonate with the depth of feeling here is that when I'm in the depth of feeling, I'm in prayer. Most of the time I'm surrendering and praying for the emancipation and the freedom of humanity, right? So when you start to really honor the work that you do, because you know that the work that you do is in service to the whole, then you start to be a little bit stronger in not taking low level shit from people who don't understand what you're saying. Right? And don't absorb that level of don't absorb that level of density. That's part of the that's part of the fear of the world, you know? So, thanks. Thanks, Fifth. Each year there are 8 cycles we share. It's intriguing how on point it seems to resonate. Brilliant, brilliant, predictable, and we can help heal faster. Focus on yes, 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 yes. There would be planetary alignment recognition within those cycles and feminine wisdom within the reclamation of the feminine cycle. Because of course it's the feminine that's been denied. So we need to reclaim that in the body and then share the wisdom and then continue to expand out because all the wisdom is already there as well. The truth in the one and the unity is already here. It's already alive and exists. We just went under the veil and disconnected. We don't see through it, right? Fifth, God, that makes me feel good. Rochelle, Oreo's chasing the laser. I'm thinking there's something here for me probably on WhatsApp. Yeah. Um, is being a rescuer also people pleasing? Possibly. I need to write that down though, because I feel you. And I do talk about this in the book, and I talk about this coming from a perspective of privilege, where it's like I feel a sense of responsibility for all of humanity. I do. But at the same time, I know that I can't do it for people. That's like the divinity piece. I can only be myself. I can only awaken myself. I can only free myself. But as I walk my path, that's the teaching. That as more and more of us anchor into our truth, and the truth shall set you free, as you walk your path to freedom, you become the way. That is how we fucking save one another. Not by going around feeding the 3D paradigm thinking everybody needs to be rescued. Give people more credit than that. Let's give one another more. Everyone is connected. Even the starving children in Africa, they are connected to their divinity and their source. But let us unite with the oppressed. Let us unite with the underprivileged. Let us unite with the people who need us, not the people who want to fucking continue to enslave us. And that is where our discernment comes in. And that is where our speaking from our heart and from our truth of compassion comes in. Because it ain't out there. And the more we think it is, the more disillusioned we become. It's here. And it's in one another. And I speak for the people who don't have access. I'm not speaking for the people who got it all already. I don't want to dump on the people who got it all, not at all. But I do want to address the disparity in this world and the fact that I think we can do better. It's simple. I know we can do better. It's as simple as that. Oh God, you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for helping me energetically shift some stuff this morning. All of you. Yeah, there it is, Lynn. There it is. There it is. And that's our service to ourselves. That's our service to one another. As long as we're still like trying to rescue each other, we're not in our sovereign power. We're not in our Christhood. You know, we can only really do it in that sovereign self. And we're still traversing. Oh, girlfriend, thanks, Fifth. I appreciate that. Just the resonance as far as like having a tough time on this platform, and like I've completely come away from Facebook. And I think I shared something interesting about Facebook as well. Somebody like because I put my last post and then I read a couple comments about somebody being like, "Goodbye, Molly," and I'm like, I'm not dead just because I'm coming off Facebook, you know? But it's weird that people, you know, people can feel that way sometimes. Right, Andrea. Thank you. Great reminder, because that is the legit truth. But you know what I mean? as far as those who have done well materially and are still trying to use materiality to keep their either comfort in place or keep the illusion in place. That's what I feel are people, using all of the niceness and all of the comfort to kind of power over and create these illusions, and really none of it's real. People are breaking families are breaking down, relationships are breaking down, and more of us, I think, can actually see through the illusion of it. It's Yeah, it just comes from, like, mega love, mega hot love vibration. Yeah, for sure, star seeds. My Earth experience is actually fairly limited. Um, as far as my consciousness is aware at this point, this is my seventh lifetime. I do endeavor to come back again, but there's some very relevant things that want to be traversed, energies that want to be traversed, planted, birthed, and probably tended to a little bit during this lifetime. And then I'll be like, okay, we did enough here. I'm gonna wait a little bit and come back, and then things will be like pretty high vibe for sure. Because for some of us, a lot of times that when we come back, it will be resolved. A lot of these, because the control system is out, it's not embedded anymore. Anyway, there gets a little bit out there. Starseed, awesome to gather here with you. You guys, oh my geez, I love you. I love how I can just spend like an hour and a half. I've done 2 hour shares before. I from the depth of my heart, I do send like a heart love vibrashe to the person who felt those edges with me. Like, again, you're a divine soul. You have all the power within you. You're allowed to feel and vibrate whatever you feel and vibrate, as am I. If you want something from me, you can book a session. Otherwise, if these channel chats don't res with you, just move along. That's okay, right? Or is it breaking up? Ooh, I like that, Andrea or Lynn. Is it breaking up? Well noodled, my manifesting friend. That's right. It's not breaking down, it's breaking up, you guys. You guys, I I am I'm just gonna just share my love, that is all. But I gotta say, this has been actually quite a powerful share, and just because of you guys, and because of even the person who decided to leave earlier, like, it's all for you, and you're manifesting this too, and I appreciate you, and I just hope to meet you. We've got loads of retreats coming up now. We've got June 19th to 23rd, paragliding and yoga in the Alps. October 8th to 12th, me and Clear are going to be in Morocco doing surfing and yoga. And then we don't have final dates, but we've got a week in Feb and a week in February, likely to be in Morocco again, and then a week in Kauai, that's going to be mind blowing. It is going to be amazing. So Clear and I are going to be meeting up with people in Kauai next June. Is that correct? I believe that's the date that we're noodling with Clear and I, Karen and I. So June, Kauai. And then I will intend to have at least 2, if not 3 or 4 events, global events, that those of us in this Ultra Love community can continue to congregate, meet, clear, heal, gather, and do fun stuff, obviously. Like like go paragliding together, and like frolic about by the pool, and like go surfing, and like have fun. Remember what it's like to be alive, right? Hey Rochelle. Rochelle, I just got a notification from you, so thank you. I really appreciate your guys' donations. They keep me going. They really do. Even though I can feel dumped on a lot and can feel pretty low vibe-ish, you help me to continue. And I know that's not the truth. I know that I'm clearing stuff. It really, like, for real, brings so much love to my heart. And like when I get your guys' messages and stuff, like genuine family kind of, it's beyond family. It's like a true community of resonance, which is beautiful. Look, and then I look down and say June. Yeah, so June is Kauai next year, and you can book onto the June retreat in the Alps. You can book onto that one now. Um, they're they're all roughly going to be the similar price point, so just expect those, the June price point similar-ish, give or take, but possibly a little lower for Kauai. We have yet to figure that out exactly, but it's just profound, basically. Like, it's going to be able to meet, transform, heal, slumber party, pretty much, right? It's like I'll meet up and we can, unless I get passport borders are dropped. Yes, Rochelle. Yeah, I feel that. And weirdly, now that we're in June, it's only a year away, actually, to be in Kauai. And then I've got people over this way in Europe and England who are digging on the Morocco vibes. I mustn't get too far ahead of myself. I do have a tendency to do this, like booking away everything. But for now, come along to France if you want to go paragliding and yoga and unplug. That's the point of the France one as well, is that we put our phones away for 4 days and like heal and be. So yeah. Well, if you have a birth certificate, technically that. But we could discuss this kind of stuff further. I can talk to you guys about spiritual sovereignty and soul sovereignty and energetically removing soul contract, systematic soul contract. And it's basically invoking the divine order and celestial from many realms, invoking the divine order and undoing the contracts that you have with governments, banking system, and the controller system. So it can be done. Sometimes it might feel more powerful or feel more effective if you're doing it in circle, i.e., doing it with a group of people. But then that will lead us into the manifestation of us disentangling these contracts, basically these contracts that we have with the controller system. But a lot of us aren't running those contracts anymore, which is how we're able to speak and do and navigate these energies the way we do, is that we're not bound to it. It literally, banking system has no power over me. The governments here have no power over me. And there's certain things I don't share that necessarily very openly because I'm not guided to. But I will continue to navigate this kind of stuff with you. So no, you can get yourself a passport, but energetically you have to remain sovereign. That's the essence of what it is, which means you're that much more responsible with your energetic outpouring, and that you don't feed any kind of disempowered enslavement energy, i.e., you don't give your power to it as you get your passport. You know that passport is actually divinely yours, inherent to yours. IHB in Melbourne. Oh, yay. Oh my God. So we've got Americans here, we've got Australians here, we've got Canadians here. I'm sure we've got a couple from the UK as well. I'm so thankful for you as well, all of you. So I think that's it, you guys. I don't know. It's been a funny one this morning, but that's okay. I appreciate you ever so much. I think we all feel that sometimes, the amount of gratitude and benevolence and grace that we feel is a true gift. And there's highs and there's lows, there's ups and downs, but ultimately, like, it's all contained in love, and that's what all to love is about, really. That within us is a peaceful place that can expand our awareness so that we can look after each other and the planet better. I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for holding space for me. I love you. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye, you guys.